Welcome to my Impact History presentation. My name is M.Kulp. All right, so to introduce myself, I teach in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I'm currently teaching in an urban setting. I teach third grade. This is my fourth year teaching, my second year within this district. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. So when it came down to selecting which acts or policies or events I wanted to choose, I chose one that I think affects me directly. And this is with the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or known as IDEA. So this was first created in 1975. However, at that time, it was under the name of the Education for All Handicapped Children's Act, but it changed to what we know it as today in 1990, according to the United States Department of Education. So this made it illegal to not meet the needs of children with identified disabilities. So when speaking specifically about partnerships between the community or families and then the schools and teachers with IDEA, it made it so that parents had to be a active participant when their student received an individual education plan or an IEP. So schools had to write them with parents, and then after they were written and they were set in place, within a certain time frame, there needs to be a progress report meeting so that the teachers can inform the parents and vice versa of how that student is progressing. So during this time, the student, you might need to modify the services, the amount of services they get, the materials they get, the adaptations, modifications, whatever it may be at this time. But it's really important for both the and school to be on the same page about what they're noticing at home and at school so that the right services can be provided for the student and that we are staying up to date in changing what the student needs as they are hopefully progressing and increasing in their academic growth or behavior, depending on what that IEP states is needed. So then also with IDEA, it's important to note that this made it so that teachers couldn't purposefully communicate less with parents or families with children with disabilities. Certainly, they could communicate more, but they could not communicate less than they did with other families with children who were not identified in the classroom. And that also directly affects me because I have a lot of children in my room with different capabilities, different needs. So when it comes down to an IEP, I'm actively involved with the meetings. I'm communicating with parents, providing my teacher input on what I'm noticing within the classroom. And that's really important to be on the same page and create this positive dialogue and productive dialogue surrounding the student and what they need in the classroom and what's going on at home for them to be successful. So kind of sliding into this timeline, this kind of shows some major events that happened to get us where we are currently today. So May 17th, 1954, Brown versus the Board of Education. This was a major event because it really brought to light on a national and legal level of how separating students based on whatever it may be, race, ability level, etc., was really just not right. It showed that these children who were separated were not getting the same quality education as other students. So that was kind of the first step in change. So on April 9th, 1965, the Elementary and Secondary Act, ESEA, was put into place. And what this did is it made equal education access to all children available. On November 29th, 1975, the Education for All Handicapped Children's Act was set into place. And then on January 1st, 1990, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA, was set into place. It officially changed the name. It added some extra provisions, and it really became what we know it is today. So the second event or policy or act that I chose was the Every Student Succeeds Act, or ESSA. So this was created in or set in place in 2015 from the Obama administration, according to our book that we're reading in class, written by Dr. Angela Clark Luke from Pepperdine University. And this was kind of built upon previous acts going back to 1975 with what I mentioned in the last slide, the Elementary and Secondary Education Act. So, according to the Office of Elementary and Secondary Education, parents are key partners in the ESSA. Schools are required to send report cards and information about state testing and their results to families. And this includes if parents wish to opt their child out of state testing. So it also expanded the term of parents to include more adults, such as, so it's now expanded, to families. As we know, there are many other adults who may play significant roles in their children's lives, especially when it comes to school. So my experience and why I think it's important for the ESSA is it's really important to communicate and build that really strong relationship with your parents and families, because at the end of the day, you guys want the same thing. You want the best interest of the child, and you want them to succeed and grow as much as they possibly can within the time that you're with them. So my experiences with this and how it directly affects me is I've had professional development on this. I've had trainings on how to actively communicate and engage with parents, how to positively create a dialogue with them that is not negative, that does not want the parent to feel as though you are not on the same side. No matter if the parent is, gunning for you, wanting to accuse you of all these different things, at the end of the day, we just want that student to be the best version of themselves and make as much growth as possible. Also, based off like different admin teams I've been under, every admin team has really pushed for parent engagement, whether it be sending positive letters home, giving them a phone call. Obviously, with major incidences where students are receiving consequences, it's important to inform parents so they're not blindsided. And that also helps open the door for communication and helps them feel more comfortable bringing information to you that you may not be aware of as well. It also includes Title I funds, and a percentage of Title I funds must go to parent activities, family activities to help increase engagement. And in my school, that's the case. We had Cocoa with Santa, we had Trunk or Treat, there was pizza, prizes, all kinds of goodies. And at our professional development meetings, there it was a major increase with these activities than last year. So that was really positive to see, getting families and students out to see us. So then coming to the ESSA timeline really quick, in 1965, the Elementary and Education Act was passed. Then in 2002, No Child Left Behind. And that had accountability and evaluation for schools. And then it also outlined, or had school districts outline, what parent roles should be within their districts. There were some revisions in 2011. And then in 2015, there was the Every Student Succeeds Act, which is now affecting school districts currently today. Thank you so much for listening. I look forward to hearing feedback.